Guys got to invest in some like computer vision camera software. Like I have eyeglasses. I'm not using it right now because it smokes my computer, but that stuff's really fun. Uh, so what? I there was apparently fireworks and celebration happening in downtown LA, according to my co-founder. Yeah, like so. Yeah, yeah, no. So, Je- Jessica and I have our mind on aliens. We think that they're gonna that's November. Is this gonna be a flying saucer right in the middle of Times Square? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm. Well, it's great seeing you. Well, it's great seeing you again, Anselm. Yeah, we keep running into each other, so it's a good time. It's actually great. We've switched into doing virtual spaces and virtual events like all the time. The time machine's on pause because there's just so much COVID demand, and we've been doing stuff on hubs and building our own tech with some fanfare. So fully XR now. You know, now it's not just a thing in the fringes. So. Sounds great. How's the payment platform going, Anselm? I'm I'm right there with you. I spend every dollar I make on my crazy projects. So yeah. No, if you crack it, like let me. We would love to play with it. Dmitry Zagadulin was talking about it, saying, "Oh, this one's like not a bad idea. Like this is the first one I've seen in a long time. That's not a bad idea." So yeah, yes, he did. I have not. I should actually. Yeah, my brain's booting up still. But yeah, yeah. I read the site and I was impressed. I should definitely. Um, yeah, yeah. Yeah, because we're pretty much using Stripe's subscriptions, so I'm gonna literally put every single way I can monetize on that damn thing. Uh, yeah, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, step one in every digital product: make it good enough that you can actually feel morally comfortable with selling it. So, which is where I'm at right now. Um, can release it right now. Yeah, it's a buggy piece of shit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, how's the other sessions been? Um, I saw a few. It's uh, some of them are all right. I had a lot of fun talking to the Lenovo guys. Uh, you know, very much wanting. Howdy. Somehow there's. I didn't do anything. I now have longer hair than my girlfriend. It's bad. So yeah. So what happened to Greg? I Oh man. Yeah, I finally got to preview his platform yesterday. Really crazy stuff. So yeah, his new. No, it's like completely spatial. It looks like Minecraft. He literally called it the Vim of the Metaverse to us. That's how he told. No, no, I think it's very like it's very hackery. It looks like something William Gibson designed. It's um yeah. Gel. Yeah. Yeah. I'll send you guys. Yeah, get on the Discord. Yeah, there's some videos of it. But I was very impressed. Yeah, I've been very impressed with the LOD system and the dynamic sharding that he has going on, and the procedural generation stuff. Very good. So Yep. Yeah, yeah, we've been kind of I've been I was trying to build stuff on hubs for since early last year. Like Dom and I, the guy on him and I went to school together at RIT, and yeah, and 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 I remember when alt space was going on, I was like, oh my god. Um, oh, testing, testing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'm having any issues. I'm seeing good levels on my side. So yeah, you tell them. Ah. Hey there, I'm Liam Broza. Uh, a long time ago, I used to make immersive caves. I've been running a digital consultancy called BitScoop. We've made a spatial time machine project called the LifeScope Time Machine that you might have seen on Magic Leap or WebXR. And now I'm building a virtual spaces and event platform on WebXR called XR Social. That's quickly turning into an immersive e-commerce platform. So.
I tend to look at things from a 10,000 foot view, and I tend to see the media patterns as somewhat dark patterns. We clearly there's a lot of money in media and communication and in these industries that we're all part of. It's where that money is going that's interesting. I don't want to talk too long, but I'll just say briefly that in the research I was doing, I was seeing that worldwide, just digital content period is a $30 trillion a year industry. So some now as we start to shift into XR, we'll start to see that expand and start to have some participation. So if we can find ways to make sure that money doesn't percolate to doesn't go to one spot but stays distributed, I think that there will be we could see an explosion of creativity. And I definitely am interested in fostering that.
Well, we've
But
definitely been virtualizing ourselves for 20, 30 years, from the the physical world's economy into the virtual world's economy. And of course, we're making another step, even, you know, bringing those two worlds even closer to XR, AR, VR, spatial computing, spatial, yeah, so, throw it in the garbage can. No, no political comments, no corporate comments.
answer that.
But junk mail. See, there we go. 30 years of phone messages, and I'm getting a ton of junk calls. But again, the point was is that reality, right, and virtuality combining, and where does the equity? How are we going to basically try to do maybe what the last 15 years a little bit differently as we try to make even more realism in a sense to our virtual lives, and spatial computing, haptics, and all the other things that people are throwing out the world.
Hmm.
I think there's also comparisons to be made with early media.
Yeah.
So if you look at like television or film, the way a handful of studios monopolized the market, but also often used up their best creatives without great pay in return. So if you look at cinema, 20s, 30s, 40s, even into the 50s with television, you often see some of our best talent making many, many pieces, but not necessarily receiving the value. So while the studios got big, the MGMs of the world got big, the individual creatives often ended up penniless. And I think we're seeing something very similar right now. And Anselm hit on part of that problem, which is centralization of the systems for distribution, not just production, but distribution, ends up with this very uneven market where individual creatives can't necessarily make it to the market well. And that is absolutely disproportionately affecting certain people in our industry.
Sure, sure. I think that we should really focus on the themes of like digital sovereignty, personal sovereignty, from that being controlling your identity, controlling your ownership of content, controlling your social network. I think there's a lot of great projects like solid and digital identifiers and things like that that are happening. I really believe in the spatial web over us trusting walled gardens of stores and networks. I think Facebook is a very bad walled garden. I think Steam tries its best, but I would much rather have things go through the web. I'm a big proponent of WebXR, where we all can have our own domains and our own little fiefdoms, and they connect together into a tapestry. I think that the metaverse relies very heavily on game engines, which are not going to be the best stewards in the long run of all of our content and all of our creativity. So it's all about being very vigilant in the face of proprietary technologies and licenses that ultimately shackle our content to things we don't control. So, yeah. Yeah.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
Look, the thing is that the dark patterns like walled gardens emerge because of the frictions of the cost of those transactions. You don't see a single product on the web for sale for like 25 cents. And that's because the frictions are too high for traditional payment rails to
Right.
release the web. So what we need to do is lower the payment frictions. We're going to have to move to crypto. We're going to have to find ways to, as you say, focus on identity and trust. But the frictions are really the issue, and that's why we see consolidation.
Well, I
If we
tried that, you
reduce
know,
the frictions, we solve the problem.
25 years ago, I put a 3D Vermal MMO type game onto America Online, which is just onto the web, and I had $5.25 pieces of models. Like literally, if you're playing a game today, your gun would have been 25 cents versus $5 versus a 5 pack for 25. I was trying things like the old Microsoft Wallet, Cybercoin. Eventually, I had to go to PayPal because, again, there was a resistance to also spend, again, those tiny amounts with the amount of third-party cut-in. It was just easier to go to credit cards, you know. Uh, but again, it was also finding the equity, the value in the content to the audience, you know, and and finding, that fairness. Because again, they were spending more and more time in these worlds. That's where we are today. I mean, we're asking people to spend, you know, 22 out of their 24 hours in virtual worlds. And I saw a post a day or two ago from asking if the world was so wonderful and there were wonderful people in it, would you just walk through the virtual world forever? And my comment was, sure, if you're paying me, because otherwise I'm sucking all my time out of, real life where I got to get paid and I got to, buy food and pay rent.
I
And,
You know,
You've been on the move. Where she goes. Okay. Well, again, I was just, we're talking about the early studio system. And again, what he was bringing up, I thought about about television as well. She was up. For example, all right. I think we do it from bottom up. I mean, that's really what we're getting at. I mean, yeah.
there we go. Yep.
nope.
No. Well, again, I think part of it comes down to, I mean, Liam was talking about it as well. I think all of us here are trying to build new models, new infrastructure, to kind of interject with even the last infrastructure that was built around social media. People, again, the word metaverse. What's metaverse? We've been in a digital metaverse for 25 years with the internet. We've been in a media verse, for lack of a better term, since Eva was talking about the beginning of film and especially television, broadcast television. Uh, and they were always saying top down, broadcast level things. But again, we have a world now where, we call it user generated or serfdom, or, but to expect, again, the people just to be the product versus the creators creating content and being equitably, paid for it, but have a society. Those are the tools we've got to build. I know this panel is involved with that, and it gets down to just a simple model of, again, we have to have lives in reality as much as we do in fantasy. I mean, I don't like calling these things games. I hate when people look at any VR platform and call it a game, because it's not. This is our lives. This is our kids' lives. Minecraft. I mean, they can start as Minecraft or as Roblox as a learning tool, but that's a different point from not everybody's going to again, we can't move into a world where there's one or two cyber athletes being paid billions of dollars a year from an advertiser, and everyone else is wannabe. That's Black Mirror. That's a Black Mirror episode.
Because it's a many to many system, the metaverse, and it's an instant feedback system. I'm not sure we can really go back to analogies like the studio system without them breaking down. As far back as I feel comfortable going and actually doing like an intellectual comparison, it's like something like Reddit or YouTube would be the only thing that I think really would directly apply from a model standpoint. Um, and I'm hopeful because both of those platforms highly democratized, very quickly, and user-generated content is dominating professionally generated content on a like an eye per hour basis, and I think that's going to go forward. I think that like the age of Fortnite and Roblox, or Roblox is maybe an exception, but I think the content creation is going to be king very quickly. So.
But we need to find that transition.
Okay, so yeah, go ahead, Larry. I'm sorry.
I just think that Liam, is finding that transition. I mean, even YouTube. I mean, YouTube is monetized with kind of an abuse of content, other people's content, until it then was purchased by Google.
Well,
Uh, it took a while, and now again the question is, what's the next step for the YouTube, uh, caster in terms of economy?
I think that Anselm's very right that payment is a huge part of it, and I love his approach. I think that Roblox and Facebook Horizon um, and Rec Room are all doing great work where it's probably the easiest way to create robust content right now is what they're like node-based builders, they're visual builders. Still not quite easy enough, but like I think that they're growing much faster than say VR chat, which has dominated the
But
like immersive
Several was in
social.
the middle of it 15 years ago. I mean,
Yeah,
they gave us the tools. People came in within a few years once they were monetized. 2003, no one cared. 2006, the Linden dollar appeared. Arbitrage appeared. The tools were there. Everybody started building like rabbits. But within 3 years, it crashed.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's all a delicate balance, I I think that there was a lot of experience problems with, and still is with Second Life. But yeah, I mean, you also have to hit great experience. You also have to hit all these other things. It's a magic formula. Yeah,
These are business issues more than they even are experience issues based on models.
yeah. Um, I yeah, Anselm, go ahead. Yeah.
I was. So how do we realign financial incentives? It's. I was going to ask a kind of. I was going to answer this with a question, which is: are there examples, nascent examples, of people who are surviving online, especially kind of like an unbanked or international community? Do we see hints of people being able to do what we imagine the future should look like? And that for me would be validating to do we see distributed, rhizomatic, small efforts where people are being paid directly for real relationships with real audiences? Where do we see that? Is it Patreon or other services like that?
That's the one that gives me the most hope is I know a lot of people who make money with stock assets, stock video, stock images, stock 3D models, and it's like creator to creator. They're making a killing. They're posting all their stuff on different markets. I could see that very much. It's I could see that very much happening with immersive content where they're making worlds and there's a nascent market of people building VRM avatars. Yeah, you know,
Well, I've had the same asset selling for 25 years on and off in that trade. You're right.
yeah.
Is it much? Is it enough to live on? Not really. Not
And,
most of the time.
okay, and right, right.
Well, the demand is there.
I want to add one more framing concept around that. If you look at this kind of creative economy as an ecosystem of different players, like you have people are buying product, people are selling product, people are promoting product, tastemakers, publishers. There's a whole ecosystem of different roles. And in a sense, we want to foster a healthy ecosystem where we don't see everything kind of pouring into one place. And so when I look at that, I'm trying to identify and understand who the shape and phrasing of that community, and how do we energize it at the grassroots level, and kind of like, and that's what's fun about looking at money as a whole, because
So
Yeah.
one of the panel, I mean, the other panel we're doing today is about fandom. As I mentioned the super chat, I mean, what are the people? It seems to me a lot of the people who are monetizing YouTube, that we were talking about, one of their killer acts seems to be when they do their live streams is to charge $5, $25. People give them money to ask a question in a stream. Super chats, right? Either direct, you know, either direct, fan or audience to, expert or to pundit, whatever, entertainer donations, and it creates, the conversations between them. It just calls out who's asking the questions about, how your dog's doing, at home or
So,
whatever the content is. Uh, I think it's great. Again, I just my concern is again is when the larger the platform becomes, the more it squeezes. You know, I mean, if people know, in eBay has been along forever, it constantly squeezes.
power
It,
corrupts.
mechanical Turks is the term. Going back to Second Life, where a lot of this was a prototype. Now, that's why always I bring up Second Life. It was a pure prototype of the spatial, data-driven, model trending, you know, web,
What, what's
world.
what's interesting is that XR is a creative medium unlike anything we've ever seen before. It's an opportunity for people who haven't had a voice traditionally to be expressive and share their vision. And if we could connect to that creativity and that passion, it could change the world, right?
Right.
There's all kinds of conversations that could be had, stories that could be told, and if we can find a way to connect the kind of the buyers and the sellers in a sense, I'd love to hear stories from the people I don't normally hear stories from. I'd love to see the world in a way I don't normally see it.
so I see these. I'm very much in the W3C like web standards community, and the two that I really pay attention to are the web web identity, web sovereignty stuff, and the WebXR community. And they've kind of had three really interesting fights happening between like 30, 40 like hardcore nerds. And one of them is, um, how do we make our identity on the web? Can I make like a solid pod or a did profile or a wallet where I can put my name, my profile, my preferred settings. I like dark mode, whatever. Put my wallet, something beyond web payment, like what Anselm's working on. Maybe put like an inventory of these are my top assets, or in the metaverse, this is my avatar, and I carry a sword on my back and like a Pip Boy on my arm. And I have a friends list, and so wherever I when I go to when I go to cubexr.com and go onto their metaverse, I immediately just grant them access to my profile and my avatar, and I'm there, and I can take it with me elsewhere. I can invite my friends through my connection list. The other argument that the other fight I've seen is uh, uh, how do we in the metaverse create a party, like all of us come together and we're all gonna shop for a vacation or a table. And so we form a party, we connect all of our browsers, and then we go to Amazon.com and eBay at the same time, and we say like, hey, we need a conference table that's 15 by 25 feet and under 5 grand, and it executes a search on all these websites, comes back, and we can compare and contrast together and find something and find a table that meets all these needs. And then kind of the third one is there's companies that are trying to do this where we all go to a restaurant, and when we walk into the restaurant, the GPS and the computer vision figures out, and the NFTs figure out we're all in the same restaurant, and it loads up the experience that the restaurant has created for us. And I have very strong like technical and practical opinions on how all these things should happen, and how they should all be as flat and federated as possible, and how that might actually work in like a secure and scalable way. But that's where my mind goes. Is if we can come up with pretty good answers, Gen 1 answers to all of these to all these problems, like the world will unlock before us. And I really don't want Apple to control that. I don't want Facebook to control that.
That is
Yeah,
interesting. And again,
yeah,
as you said, you have a technical point of view of the world. I'm gonna flip it on the world itself, the political of the world, the humanity of the world, the way things, the way things are outside of tech, which of course has been a complaint that many people have, is that tech is all designed by one kind of group of people who believe that tech is the solution to every problem. And this is where we get into the concept of, again, of adjudication, of regulation. People, government's a horrible word. No, government was the answer to bring people together in larger societies that were more than just one family unit or two family units. And I think that's what we make it the bad guy. We've made it the bad guy in the delusion of the metaverse of the internet for 20 years. We made any kind idea of regulation or any idea of governance bad. From Barlow down. A new declaration. Get out of my yard, old man.
Can I comment on that a little bit?
Sure, please.
Uh, I think when we're talking about power and how power corrupts, we have to be thoughtful. We're basically creating brokerage roles for people to be in positions of trust, and we sometimes fail to recognize the consolidation of power. We see that everywhere in our landscape. Today's socially and politically, there's some serious concerns around that. I think
Right.
that as a planetary culture, we're starting to learn and understand the risks of power concentration. And I think that actually XR speaks to that in a subtle way, which is that if you have a self-sovereign identity and you have this kind of backpack that Liam's talking about, where you have ownership over your identity, that starts to establish trust. And the trust brokerage role that we're seeing that our society plays, where police and institutions act as surrogates for us, I think could be replaced by direct person-to-person relationships. And we could have a kind of horizontal uh, trust that you're speaking to. So
Right.
because
You know,
hey,
every medium replaces every new medium sideways replaces its previous medium and also creates an opportunity to learn, as Eva was saying about itself. Learn about learn about how the film industry and the TV industry formed to get to cable TV, to get to the internet of today, to Disney of today. Then understand it, embrace it.
Good point.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. I'll try to speak briefly to, and I mean, I'm a layperson on this. I've noticed this, especially today, and speaking to Liam's points, I the risk of horizontal structures is a tyranny of the masses as well, and we start to leave a realm of kind of like talking about just XR and 3D graphics and how much fun everything is, and focusing on this kind of institutional structures we're in. I think that if I had to have one phrase when I think about this, is that power corrupts, and there's a way that we can have a kind of tyranny imposed upon ourselves with these machines we build. And we had to. I think that I prefer in a way. I prefer weak machines or weak structures where humans in real spaces can overpower the the, the capability we have to build these very powerful rules. My friend Amber has an idea called human scale design, where we're trying to think about humans and what the limits and reasonable boundaries of human powers are, and not use our incredible powers to build machines that can impose tyranny upon ourselves.
see, I say
Drop
education,
them in peace.
education liberates, and human-centered design is 35 years old in the design industry in terms of Victor Papanek and others, so that it's without media education to start again, we're just going to repeat these things over and over.
Yeah.
This is, you know,
Let me add just one nuance. I don't mean to constantly interject. Just add one point here, which is it's not that we want to make things that are pleasing for people, but we want to build systems that make a certain kind of people. We want to produce good citizens, as Larry's pointing out, education and participation, and we have to be thoughtful about what the systems produce. Do they produce people who are pursuing selfish goals? Do they produce people who are civic minded? And so we try to trend the whole system because we have this power to build these fabric around us, especially in virtual reality where everything is can be manifested by our imagination.
I mean, we are now at 2020 is, you know, everybody thinks, Christ, 2020, how did we get here? 60 years of media verse, of television, of radio, of film, of culture, in our own culture, that, you know, took down one empire, is now taking down our own empire in a strange way. I mean, we've taught ourselves to be this. And as, as the new toys are being shown, given, how do we, how do we take that opportunity to learn from our mistakes, right? Is that really what we are then? It does. Pogo. It's Pogo. See the enemy, it's ourselves. There's a couple of questions she's been trying to punch in here. If you want to get to them, if you see it in the chat.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a project with Oakland School District earlier this year where we were doing stuff on top of hubs and doing web-based 360 video. And the whole idea was essentially, could we go to these massively underserved communities and give them like a couple generation old cell phones so that they could have some social experience, educational experience, do virtual field trips, do stuff on watch immersive videos on cardboard, and get a field trip experience, get like a really fun, engaging uh, 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 educational experience through 360 video or something that would be scalable in some way. And I learned it was a mixed bag, but I learned a lot. And I've done some other stuff with with teaching programming to underserved kids. And the number one thing that I've seen needs to happen is an access to hardware. Just trying to get internet connections and laptops and cell phones to these underserved people, to these marginalized people, and the rest that's the biggest hurdle. And uh, there's something in there from e-waste to underserved kids, and then preloading some sort of really great platform on there, that and building some sort of program that will actually get people onboarded and bought in to this the power of the internet, to the power of this connectivity, and yeah.
I wish we just made tools, not platforms. Nintendo. I mean, so-
Yeah. It's funny because I have to really speak to Mozilla here. We went through a lot of training at Mozilla, and it was remarkable. I haven't ever worked at a company that's so aligned on the mission values around uh, trying to actively go out of its way to bring in diversity, support wider audiences, especially not just in the States but around the world. I I was honored to be a part of that. It was a remarkable set of values from top to bottom in that organization, and I think that you have to work at it all the way through. You have to go out of your way to try to see more clearly. Really work at it. It's very hard to see, and go to your way to bring in what are truly diverse voices, support them, give people opportunity to speak in their own way, not in ways that are pleasing necessarily to you, but in a way that maybe you can't see very clearly. So I think it's active, and not simply kind of providing ladders, but actually kind of really going out of your way to to hear and see in ways that we're not used to.
yeah, I think that the whole thing has been turned upside down a bit because we've gone to platforms that make the people the product. And if they're not looking, and if a large corporation doesn't see those people as a potential product for themselves, they don't look for them. I mean, just get tools out there. Hubs is wonderful. Everybody can, it's a low hanging fruit for XR that anybody can get on with a phone of almost any type, a 10-year, 8-year-old phone. They will make their own. Okay, the world will make its own future if they have the tools. They already have the incentives. They're in the world. They just top down organization the way that tech is operating. It didn't operate that way during its greatest birth, the PC and the internet. They were both decentralized in terms of they were making tools. $300, you had a tool. You didn't have a monthly payment to a platform that you couldn't even sell to a client because you had no idea what the project would cost.
I think I have my power. Be right back. I apologize.
No, I'm just my only suggestion is that what Blue is saying is uh, there is no other. They're already there doing stuff. They don't get covered in Wired magazine. The tech press doesn't give a crap about what they're doing. It's not their narrative. But that's not the world. I mean, anybody, in any country at this point who has access to new village, hubs can build a virtual XR world. They're already starting to do it. That was the dream of Vernal, the first Web 3D, 25 years ago. They tried to, as the Dutch, as Leah was talking about, the birth of the web. None of this stuff was, uh, you know, tied to be part of a walled garden corporate top-down organization. That's what AOL had become, and the idea was to move away from it, supposedly. You know, so I don't think there's an other. I just think that they just need the right system to get the access to the tools and let them build their own, fish. Teaching one to fish.
And then I would add this distribution as well, right? You need, I mean, Evo is saying this on chat, where we need to have open creative spaces in which to actually share that, where that's not, being owned by some.
Well, that's the point. They'll be able to find their own. People can find their own audiences, smaller audiences, willing to pay higher fees for the media content they find valuable, if they don't have to go through these large platform brokers who don't even allow them to own their tools.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little passion here. I've watched this happen for 30 years. I've watched my ownership of my own identity as a designer creative, okay, who was one of the first in this virtual 3D world, be pulled away from me my entire career unless I played ball with a few people in Silicon Valley.
So I see a lot of people talking in the chat about mentorship. That like if we're actually going to get the everyday person on, they need to have some sort of mentorship and some sort of onboarding, Sherpas, right? The thing that I've become like really focused on is throwing some sort of social virtual event, and I'm on like a lot of Discord feeds and a lot of shared calendars of these. And 90% of the time, it's just like more. It's kind of like incestuous. It's just like all the same people going around to different events. But like, yeah. But like 1 in 20 people are like a newbie, and you'll find somebody who just comes in from the first time, and you can tell their minds are blown. They're like, "This exists? Where am I? Oh my God, I can do this!" And it's magical. And then everybody gets around the newbie, and it's like, "Yeah, you can try this and try that." And they're like, "Yeah, we love this. This is all we do. We do this 5 times a week." And I've kind of been trying to be like Johnny Appleseed, or be like the apostle for this stuff, and try to find as many newbies as possible, and convince them to like take their 3 hours on their Saturday and do stuff. I go to like 4 or 5 of these events a week, and I'm always pulling people in, and I feel like that's a lot of what our job should be, is find events that are already happening, help make them better and bring people in, throw your own events, make them well and good enough for people to come in, and focus almost all your energy on the new people. And if you want to talk about kids and underserved minorities, or everything that isn't this demographic, that's what I see is the silver bullet, is that type of experience. It's like it has to be social, and it has to be focused on growing the the community, especially yeah.
You were making great points in the message, in the chat.
Well,
It's so hard it's a shame that she's not in the video chat here. I mean, another creative voice.
I'm throwing events too. Here, I'll drop some links. If you guys wanna come, like Larry comes to them all the time, and is very outspoken at all of them, and always gives us stuff to talk about. Great history lessons. I think people actually like it a lot, especially when the farther back in time we go. So. Um,
the hub campus world right now is that we've been using this as for the conference, but we'll probably pop into right now after
Yeah.
this is done. Anybody wants to continue the conversation informally, you can go to the campus pods, which are part of the links that Anne-Marie and Cameron is putting up on and off during the show.
Thank you, Blue.
Yeah.
Now
See
we
you.
have a
See you all there. Join us in Hubs.
panel at 11:40 from Cube, so go check it out.
Thank you.
Been a
Thank you,
pleasure.
guys. See you all soon.
Howdy, Blue. I'm into it.
Liam, I really wanted to bug you more about this. I really have like 10,000 things to run past you because I'm so interested in creating real rewards for creators, and it sounds like you know this community pretty well.
Yeah, yeah, possibly too well. Possibly need to go outside. Yeah, so yeah, and they're all broke. Yeah, so yeah, I think that there's many things that we could definitely do. And I'm doing like the very broken thing of um, just building a platform that I can put like a spot payment, like ticket paywall and metered subscription paywall behind, and that's like very it's very tough conversion, and it's very brittle, and like it's
Here's the difference that I'm exploring. The difference, the slight difference is I want to pay as you go. I want
yeah,
to throw a quarter or a dollar at a thing at the moment, just like reading a newspaper article. It's just like, oh, I want this right now. There's no subscription, there's no process. You just throw some cash at it and you go through, or it's a tip or whatever.
yeah.
Maybe a gift, but the idea is that I want a transactional, immediate, and uh, what's the word for there's a just impulse purchase.
Yeah.
That's all I want. Is I want to simplify that relationship so that because if I really was critical, not to ramble on, if I was really critical about what I'm seeing now, the dark patterns I see are advertising and subscription. Much as we like them and use them, the thing is that they create a relationship between the person who wants the thing and a third party in a sense.
Oh,
Whereas I want to create a direct relationship between the creator and the receiver.
Yeah, I mean, I have no love for Stripe or my merchant processor, so I'm right there with you. And the bank account I have to hold behind that, and how I have to be in constant fear of too many chargebacks and all of that crap. So do you know Adrian? He goes by Javier. He's the founder of ExoKit, Webiverse. You ever heard of that? Yeah, he's currently doing a lot of the stuff, trying to go the way you are. He's very much like he was playing with Brave for a while, basic attention token, and for WebXR, and then kind of abandoned it, and now he's doing the whole Ether sidechain non fungible token madness. Um, yeah, it's just Webiverse here. Yeah, yeah. Who knows? I can't keep up with him. The dude is like all over the place. Um, yeah, there. That's his latest project. Yeah, it's not exactly the architecture I would choose, but he's it lasts 60 seconds. That's why I put it over here. That's why I've learned from Hubs. I just put it over there. If you can see it to your yeah, yeah. It's like this is one of the reasons we've been building our own platform, so this isn't a problem. Um, I would share it, but it's very inefficient. It has like way too much post processing and live lighting for WebXR right now. So you need like a beefy graphics card to run it. Um, but yeah, we have like a very traditional subscription system built, freemium subscription system built on it for our clients essentially who want that. Um,
Wow, this is crazy pants.
yeah, you should see he rewrote Chrome so it can do super high performance WebXR too. He's the man is a beast. Yeah. Here's his other project that he's slowly turning into the same project, and it's fucking nuts, nuts. Um, um, yeah, yeah. Here,
But is he happy?
but yeah, the other joke is he's broke as fuck. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's the thing is right now I'm in a position where I can fund, but
yeah.
I'm the burn rate's incredibly high when you start doing this stuff. Like,
Oh, I've burned $100,000 this year on XR Engine. Like,
it's terrible, isn't it?
yeah, and I've been funding an 18-person dev team plus like I have friends at Amazon who gave us like $10,000 in credit and they're going to give us 10,000 more, and it didn't even put it. It's like we blew through it like already.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, but really, it's like even for these personal projects, my burn rate's 20K a month. Right?
Yeah,
Like the
yeah, I'm
actual
about
when you
that.
kind of when you pull back the veil and you actually look at the actual cost of playing around and researching, exploring, and trying to do something, and they kind of like the very high risk because you
Yeah.
know how long can you kind of keep up those burn rates before you have to kind of go back to the slave pits and work for
Oh,
a few years, right?
yeah. No, and I showed this to some very like I showed this to the venture capital behind Matayo and a couple like some really knowledgeable VCs, and they were like, until you are right at the precipice of profitability, they wanted like 40%, 60% of the cap table
Right.
in the first
Yeah.
fucking round, and I was just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it was.
So it's funny because I don't think that they'll peel back. We talk all about how we want to help people and do good, but the actual money that is to
Oh yeah,
There's a huge personal risk.
and like we were like, oh, crowdfunding, Kickstarter, Patreon, can we create a really sick video? And we're like, um, it goes back. It's like it cheapens the product, and then my friend who's done multiple Kickstarters, he always tells me the only thing harder than crowdfunding is getting rid of your failed crowdfunding campaign, or what? So,
Yeah.
so
Well, if I do anything, it'll just be that I actually start handling people's microtransactions. I'm not going to bother with any kind of crowdfunding or even investment. Like if I can't prove the point, I can't help a single person actually do a single microtransaction. Then I'm going to just put it down.
yeah.
But I don't want to get involved in all those reindeer games.
Yeah, well, you and I and Dimitri should definitely have a conversation because I think he would be the guy on our team who could like triangulate how maybe we can put together an MVP and maybe just maybe find somebody who would want to boot up what you're doing um, in like a scalable way. When we're not in this forum, I could tell you kind of more about the projects we're in. Yeah. But yeah, this is Adrian's work. He's a fucking beast. Yeah, um, it's wild. It's wild how this stuff's going down.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I'm looking at your stuff right now, actually.
There's
Kind
a
of.
few other people around here.
Yeah. Hey, Greg.
How you doing?
We are well. We are well.
Hi there.
Awesome.
I'm a friend of Larry's for a long time.
Awesome.
Hey, sorry guys. Hey, there you are. I was having audio trouble.
No worries.
How do I paste the link?
Click on the main screen and hit paste, and it'll appear in the world instead of in the chat. You just click on the common area. Yeah.
Thank you. Right? I think Trump could have listened. Trump could have listened to my shirt.
Yes, exactly. Yes. I mean, I don't want to wish you alone anyone, but
Here's a conference we're doing. If there's anyone's interested, it'll appear. This is not quite live, but people are welcome to. Well, you can sign up for it right now, but I haven't quite posted it live yet. But it'll be going up in. We're doing it November 5th.
November 5th or 15th?
5th, 5. Remember, 5th of November.
can you post a link to this in the chat? Are you getting there
You
now?
just
You
click
can
on
open
it.
the link. I put the link on it.
This is not. We're removing the registration to Nexus events, which is really hosting at the conference. So there's some changes still, but we're getting close on this going on.
Yeah, I never heard from them about it.
Anyway,
Okay. So we got some other folks in here.
yeah.
I think you should rename yourself from Top Earth though. Nobody will know who you are.
I don't even know who I am.
Right? I know who you are. I got a little smudge on my headset here. There, so hi there. Yeah, I saw you in chat. You have a military background?
Larry, I freaking love that avatar. That's so you.
It was hysterical.
Yeah.
Because we're often trying to data center
The Brett Reddit one's the greatest. I don't
networking
actually know those,
the areas that
just watch the video at 11:30.
I, I will. I will.
He couldn't get managed to get his logo, to get his avatar loaded properly, so he's the only one who doesn't have a passport.
Oh my
So
God.
because he just, the wrapping, he just couldn't get it to wrap properly. But logo just thought as a graphic designer, to stamp out these iconic looking logos in the robots. I want to get these things in front of my door.
Uh,
I want to send them a Funko girl. So the cool is not to at this
I'm
time.
I'm right there with you. Well, these animal robot ones are the ones Shaw actually made. So it's kind of funny to watch people in here who actually have avatars that Shaw made. So
Yeah.
it's funny.
Well,
Like,
I have my avatar on me, but I can't access it anymore. I was talking with the guy who runs it, but I don't know. I made it so long ago that they don't give me access to it anymore.
well, he broke the system. That's why, and he seems to like be He seems to be happy with it broken for some reason.
I had their email. He kept telling me it should go to a page, and I know it goes right back to the home page. I keep
No,
trying
man,
to
it's been broken for months. It's very strange.
but and the problem with help is that like with the world, you lose track of all this stuff. It doesn't, it's too current before everything you come back to it.
You're gonna. So we actually launched our platform secretly um, on Monday, and we just haven't shared the link. And I think you're going to be blown away by our avatar creator. Um,
Well, let's, invite me in and play in a bit.
it's
The
it
thing is, again, logo is the perfect place to bring some time into the haunted stuff. So is that your work, that haunted house?
is it
Is that
my
your work?
is it my work? What? It's like we're too close. Here, can we go over? I can't hear you over everything. We can go in this, whatever this is. Yeah. So say that last sentence again.
The Halloween stuff.
Yeah, so that's stuff we bought off Bitmotion, and we're retopo and relighting it right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, if you want, I mean, and again, Mr. Lobo is a horror.
yeah,
He's been Comic Con Halloween stuff for 20 years.
awesome.
Uh,
Yeah, no, we might we you should we should definitely have like a follow up conversation. We haven't even had like the mind space to deal with the art side of things right now because like we launched on Monday and we have like massive performance problems where
right, right.
shit was running at 2 frames a second, and now we're up to like 8 frames a second, and now all we need to do is find 70 more frames a second, and then I can like focus on art. So, yeah,
The Lobo, the Sky Cinema, which is access here, some of the URL that you can show. We've got his movies playing them now from Vimeo and from his Roku channel. He's got a Roku channel. So I'm going to be doing more and more content with them and try to mediaverse. And again, just get them, even for 20 minutes to come in as kind of celebrity thing, you know.
no,
Because
I'm
he's got
right.
his own audience too. He's got his own network on the Roku channel. So get on the phone outside of it. But he'll do. I mean, we did this like 15 years ago. When he was able to bring in when we filmed the thing with Fear 11:30, most of the audience that showed up was all his fans. All he did
Awesome.
was send them the URL. Okay, and we went through the whole process of the proof of concept for everything we're doing in terms of regular people don't give a shit about XR, don't know crap about VR, don't have HMVs. All they're going to do is see the guy they love from a TV show in a virtual world. They click the URL, they got through select my avatar. I told them grab robot to put the fantasy member down. That was the only command. And they were in a space like this, in the Mediaverse Lounge, and being quiet for a show being taped, for an hour last Thursday we did it. So all proof of concept. We all know what we're doing. It all works. We just gotta just start bringing, like I say, non-tech people into this shit.
Yeah, right there with you. Let's go back into the community and talk.
You don't need to worry about tech stuff.
Let's yeah, let's
Those are great choices.
Exactly.
Agree, agree or die.
Well, yeah, it was like basically the people that we didn't want to target needed to get out of the way so we didn't kill them.
I mean, the unfortunate part is that, everyone didn't get out of the way.
Yes.
I can hear you a little bit.
But, so I'm just saying that the influence operations that I see from technology, I'm seeing these parallels to the actual military grade psychological operations that I used to see. And yeah, I don't want to see that going forward with the metaverse. It's a
Yeah.
pretty cool thing.
Right.